Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing July's wrap up. So I did a mid-month wrap up in July and I had read 10 books when I did that video, and altogether I read 16 books in July. No, in August. In August. Low for me, but I'm not even mad because I have so much going on. So getting to read 16 books in 1 month, I'm strong. I'm victorious. If you missed my mid-month wrap-up, I will link it up here. You can go check it out, because I'm not going to talk about those books in this video. I will briefly pick it up and tell you the name and the author of the book, but I'm not going to go into detail about them. The first book that I read in August was Interference by Kay Honeyman. This book was on my self-destructing books list, and I read it. And I'm sorry if I look over here. My computer's right here with all the books that I read, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. Then I read My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, Everything for Us by M. Leaton, and I read The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. Don't own this book, but I read Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. That was a reread for me, but me and Heather from Bell's Library buddy read it, so there's that. Then I read 4321 by Courtney Stevens. These are the last books that I had already talked about on my mid-month wrap-up, and that is the Curvy Girls Can't series, which is basically curvy girls can't date quarterbacks, curvy girls can't date billionaires, curvy girls can't date cowboys, curvy girls can't date bad boys, and I think that there are 7 in the series. Now, these are the only books that I haven't talked about. Let's see, let's go with The Bride Test by Helen Wong. Ooh. Editing Alita here. I realized I didn't really tell you what The Bride Test was actually about, but you follow Kai, who has autism and thinks that he doesn't have feelings, like he doesn't feel emotions like other people do. So he doesn't think that he's ever gonna find love. And his mom gets involved in his love life and goes to Vietnam to get him a bride. And she brings this woman named Esme back to the States to marry her son. And, like, Esme is trying really hard to fall in love with Kai. And Kai is trying really hard not to like her. And so it's like this fake marriage of convenience. Like, she's gonna stay through the summer and go to all of his sister's weddings as his date, and at the end they're supposed to get married. That's what the mom wants, but Kai doesn't want love. He's not interested, but somehow maybe they fall in love against all odds, and it's just very cute. I read The Kiss Quotient earlier this year. Absolutely loved it. This is the second in that standalone series. So It's a romance series, so you don't have to read them all. You can read them as standalones. They're just like companion novels. But this one was a slower start for me. Like, I didn't love it from the very beginning like I did with the Kiss Quotient. But I ended up really enjoying it more than I thought I would, and more than I did at the very beginning. Like, it's just a very slow start, and I'm not entirely sure about the characters at first, but somehow along the way I kind of fell in love with this book, just like the characters fall in love. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but it's a romance, so I don't really think that's a spoiler. I feel like the people that read romances kind of know what's in store for you. You're rooting for a romance. So I fell in love with this book. It was great. I gave it 4 stars. You should really pick it up. I read Disney Who's Who and A to Z of Disney characters, and it's literally just Disney characters and a paragraph about them, and some fun facts along the way. It was fine. I was really expecting more from it. I am, however, going to keep it for a long time. I think it'll go great in my classroom. Especially, I want to be like a kindergarten teacher, maybe 1st grade, but honestly, kindergartners kind of stole my heart this year, so I want a kindergarten classroom. But I feel like they're a little bit young to be able to read this, but they can still read the pictures, look at the pictures, and do a picture walk. Plus, I can read, like, this paragraph, one day, 1 paragraph a day or whatever, because what kid doesn't like Disney? So, yeah, I'm going to keep it, but it was just okay to me. Then, I read another reread, which is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I have read this book 3 times this year. What? Yeah. This is a great atmospheric, it's kind of more of a slow burn mystery with thriller elements. It's about this girl named Emma who goes to this summer camp when she's a kid, and her 3 bunkmates go missing, and she goes back to that camp like 20 years later, and to try and investigate what happened to her bunkmates and her friends. And then history repeats itself, and Riley Sager is very atmospheric with his writing, and he just brings me into the story, like How Lucky by Will Litch. And I wanted to like this book. It was my first book of the month pick, my second book of the month pick. And, I think I'm going to finish reading all my book of the month books and decide if it's really something I should keep or not. Because, like, I don't always tend to love my book of the month books. This one was just okay. It has great disability rep, I do have to say that, but it's about this guy, Daniel, who is bound to his wheelchair. This guy named Daniel is bound to his wheelchair. He doesn't really leave his house much or anything, and then he thinks that he sees a college girl getting kidnapped, and he calls the police, or at least, like, he tells his friend who called the police, and then the cops don't take him seriously because he's wheelchair bound, and then these crazy scary, like, I mean, scary type things start happening, and maybe he's closer to the kidnapping than he thinks. I gave it 3 stars. I don't really have much else to say about it. I wish it was like more actually scary, not just scary. But it was fine. In Her Bones by Kate Morty. This was a book I was so excited to read. And this severely disappointed me. Very, very badly. Like, you follow this girl, this woman, named Edie. Yeah. Whose mom, Lilith, murdered 15 people. 6? Okay, she murdered 6 women. And now her daughter Edie stalks the families of the victims. And maybe she's just like her mom. That's all you have to know going into this one, but honestly, the plot is very anticlimactic. Like, I guessed it before it happened, and I just felt very disappointed in the plot, because by the premise, it sounded like, oh, you're gonna follow, like, a serial killer, and, it's gonna be wonderful, but if it was, like, you were following a serial killer and it was wonderful, then I would have been happy. But you don't really get in her mind much like I wanted. I found this very anticlimactic, didn't like it. Gave it 2 stars, and I think that that was generous 2 stars too. Okay, then the last one that I read, this is the Louisville Anthology, edited by Keane. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's a bunch of stories about the history or that take place in Louisville. I really, really, really enjoyed the poems. I didn't care for the stories. And I really didn't, I was bored by the history ones, like the ones about Louisville's history. There were some really good information things that I got from the history ones, but I just didn't like those ones. Altogether, I think I gave it 3 stars. It's perfectly fine. I'm just thinking that maybe anthologies are not for me, because typically when I read anthologies, I give it 3 stars. And that's not bad, but I would rather read 5-star books. Those are all the books I finished in August. I DNF'd an arc. And at first I thought maybe I would go back and revisit it. But honestly, this book was so boring and nothing happened. I made it over 100 pages, and I just don't care about these characters. Okay, well, let me explain. So, It Had to Be You by Georgia Clark. It came on sale on May 11th. I read over 100 pages of it, and basically you follow this woman who, her husband dies, and they have this wedding planning business together, but when Elliot, that's his name, Elliot, leaves his half of the business to his 20-something-year-old mistress instead of his wife, that makes things very awkward between his wife and his mistress, because they're like pushed together in order to run this business together. The wife, named Liv, wants to just like get rid of the business, like sell it, but the mistress doesn't want to do that, and she can't afford to buy Live out. So they partner up and keep the wedding planning business going. And it's supposed to be funny and really cute. I just found both characters so annoying. And I didn't care that the husband died. And in like a cutesy funny book, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to care about the characters. Or at least care that someone died. So these are all the books that I read in August. See, that looks like quite a few books. Oh, plus my audiobooks, which was the one Riley Sager and the 4 in the series. So I read 5 books in addition to this. So, you know, for someone who's as busy as I am, it's not that bad. I think I did pretty good. Let me know if you've read any of these in the comments below. Let me know what you think of them or thought of them when you read them. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.